Our children are more than a test. They're more than a score. And as parents, we know that, and we have to let these test makers, we have to let our teachers, we have to let we have to let our communities know that. And right now, the best way to do that is to opt out. So opt out.
The parents need to understand what is actually going on. We need to know what's going on in our school buildings. We need to know what's going on in our classrooms, because now the testing is taking too much of a priority when it comes to the decisions that the districts are making. It's hurting our teachers. It's far too long hurt our students.
And when you do well on test prep, you're a good test taker. It doesn't tell you anything other than that.
Si usted no sabe el idioma, se le hace difícil. Y yo no lo encuentro bien.
I decided to opt my son Guillermo out. He's a very intelligent, smart kid, goes to Masterman, but I knew that something was wrong, and I had him tested and found out that he has a couple different learning disabilities. So, for him to deal with test anxiety and have to sit there and fill out those forms, that's not a good use of time for him, and it's not a good use of time for any other child.
It's kind of simple. It doesn't take a scientist. You don't have to have a lot of degrees or knowledge to know that it's hurting them. And if you ask any of these children, some of them that are conscious of it, and they'll tell you they don't understand why we adults are doing this. It's like we're doing something against them as opposed to for them or with them.
This is the second year that we have opted out of the PSSA tests. And last year, I did a lot of research before we actually made our decision. I tried to find a reason to take this test. When I understood that the tests come out too late to actually help the kids, to help the parents help the kids on the things that were difficult, I wanted to know why we were actually taking it. In my research, I realized that the best way to do well on this test is really to do all of the test prep. And that doesn't mean that my child knows how to add, and that doesn't mean that my child knows how to put a sentence together.
Somebody has to make $1 off our kids' failure. Somebody has to. And if there was no money, if there was money in making sure every child succeed, we would not be making this video right now.
We're testing our children at 9 years old and 3rd grade. And when I saw that my 3rd grader was losing that light that he has for learning, I had to really think about what it is that I'm trying to do. Why are we following this model when the child no longer gets science because he has to learn more math? He doesn't get to go to the library because he has to write a better sentence.
Bueno, en verdad nos sentimos un poco decepcionados porque si los niños todavía no saben inglés, yo creo que no debieran darle el examen.
Well, I believe that children are not standardized. Each child has their own unique talents, and the purpose of public education is to help each child find their own talents. And so to use standardized testing as the primary tool of measure of a child's intellectual ability is a really bad idea.
When I would go to school and I would take a test, the teacher would grade it. And the teacher would explain to me on the sheet of paper that was handed back where I fell. What areas I needed to strengthen.
The type of education that I really want for my children, I want them to be problem solvers and critical thinkers. I want them to be able to handle the problems in a global environment.
Standardized tests provide information for the test makers. They don't provide any valuable information for the teacher, nor does it provide any information for me.
La razón es porque ella no sabe mucho inglés, entonces yo quiero que ella que esté bien preparada cuando.
I did not realize until recently that they test children who are not fully fluent in English. I did not realize that they test children with diagnosed learning disabilities on grade level. And it really concerns me that today, in addition to using scores to evaluate teachers in schools, that they're looking for growth. And I think that that puts students, even students who do well on these tests, in a very bad position, and their teachers, because there's this continued expectation of growing on this arbitrary test, and I don't think that that's a meaningful measure of growth.
Standardized test is going to merely mark it correct or incorrect. I don't feel that that's good enough.
No, de verdad, yo como dije ahorita, no fuera bueno que se le dé el examen porque va a ser un fracaso para el niño.
Our schools are being starved of resources, and the test scores are a main driver of who gets what resources. And as parents, we need to stop this.
With the PSSAs, I don't see where my opportunity is to go back and actually fix what they failed in. It's just a failure. My kids aren't failures.
Parents go to SRC meetings, our school board meetings, as many parents who speak out in favor of the education that they expect for their children. No one wants to hear us, but they will hear us if we refuse this test.
And as soon as I found out that I had the right to opt out, I certainly did.